Can you guys hear me? Hello everyone, good evening. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? If if you can hear me, just drop it in the chat so that I can know that my audio is perfect. Okay, so I see Cynthia. Hi Cynthia, how are you? I think there's a lag on my end. So yeah, I think there's a bit of a lag. But I see you. How are you? Just okay, great. It's good to know that you can hear me and I'm not speaking to myself. Okay. Are you the only one on this call? I think I can see another person on the call. But anyways, we're just going to start because I want to try and wrap up this part 1 as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm very good. I'm very good. Thank you very much for asking. I'm very good. Okay. All right. Okay, great. We have everything all set now. So welcome to part 1 of the mastery series that for God knows how long I've been saying we are going to hold. And to be honest, I've been planning this mastery series for, I think, 3 months now. Yeah, I got the idea and about it since last year December, and since then I've been planning, I've been thinking, and I've been putting things in place to ensure that this mastery series holds. However, initially it was scheduled for February, but because I had a very important engagement that I could not push aside, I had to move it to March, right? And here we are. So we are going to be getting right into it. You guys know me that I always try to prepare my slide so that I can present and you all can see it. However, for today and maybe for the entire mastery series, there's not going to be any slides. So try as much as possible to pay keen attention to the things that I'm going to be saying. Right. So let's just get right into it. Machinery of the mind. Machinery of the mind. When this particular topic came to my mind, I started to think how that truthfully the mind works like a machine. Yeah. And a lot of times is because we do not understand this fact, is because we do not see how the mind works as a machine. So it's very hard for us to interrupt it, right? And there is something I always say. I say that understanding, either self-understanding or understanding of a particular pattern or understanding of a particular thing precedes interruption of that thing. So what that means is, if you do not understand it, chances are that, okay, the volume, let's see, let me see how to quickly fix that. Give me a moment. Oh dear. Okay, so is it better now? Can you hear me now? Let me know if it's better. Okay, can you hear me now? I don't know. I hope this is better. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, great. Thank you very much. Okay, so hi Abraham, I see you there. Thank you for joining. Okay, great. So I was trying to explain something. I was trying to say that a lot of times we do not understand the fact that our mind works like a machine. So because of that, it's almost impossible for us to interrupt it. And like I would always say, anything you want to interrupt, the first thing that you need to do before you interrupt it is to understand. Because if you don't understand it, you would not even know where things went wrong. The place that the things, went out of what you were expecting, right? The point where things started to nosedive, you will not know. And so because you do not know, it becomes impossible for you to change course, right? So when we understand the fact that the mind works like a machine, right, and we then understand how machines function, we apply it to the mind, and then we start to see how to interrupt certain things, certain patterns, right? Because hope you know, everybody here on this call, everybody here, we have certain patterns that keep repeating itself in our lives. Somehow you get to that junction of your life and you feel like, not again. Why am I back here? Not again, right? But because you do not understand it, that circle keeps perpetuating itself, right? So understanding always precedes interruption. Self-understanding precedes self-interruption. So today we're going to be addressing part 1 of the 4-part series, which is the mind as a system. Understanding the mind as a system. Yeah, great. So at any point where my audio starts to misbehave, please let me know so that I can quickly adjust it. Yeah, thank you. So the first thing we'll need to understand is, what is a system? Because if we're going to be understanding the mind as a system, it is critical that we understand what a system is, right? And then we're going to understand what a mind is. I know there are a lot of teachings online that tends to expatiate and, help us to understand what the mind is. This is not an academic class, right? If not, we would have gone really deep into it. So we're going to understand briefly what the mind is. Then we're going to see how the mind works like a system. There are 3 core things that every system has: structure, logic, design. 3 core things. And when you understand how these 3 things interplay, right, and how the mind works in similitude, you can now start to understand why certain patterns in your life keep reoccurring, and then how to interrupt it. I understand that while some of you were registering for this mastery series, there was a particular question I asked on the form, right, on the landing page. I asked that, what is that one thing that keeps happening in your life again and again and again, and it feels like you can't break out of it? And I got quite a number of response, right? Some person said, oh, I start something and I do not finish it. Some said that, oh, I keep telling myself I'm going to do something, but I don't end up doing it. Some person said, it seems as if I move forward, I take 1 step forward and then 3 steps backward, and all of these things. Now, when we look at these things, it is easy, right, for us to say, oh, it's a spiritual problem, especially seeing the fact that we are from Africa, and Africa is largely religious, right? We are largely religious people. So it is very easy for us to spiritualize it and say, it's the devil, or oh, something is wrong with me, or I'm under attack, right? Yes, you might be under attack, but that attack may just be you perpetuating it, because you don't understand how certain things come to play out. Now, I am somebody that I study myself quite a lot, right? And there was a particular discovery that I found out about myself this year, right? And I was just taking my bath, right? Funny enough, I was just taking my bath and I was just enjoying myself under the shower. And a particular question came to my mind. I didn't brush it off. I decided to sit into it while taking my bath. And as I started to ruminate over the thought, right, I started to think about it and turn it upside down just to look at every side. I saw a particular pattern in my life that up until that point I did not know exists. I did not know that pattern was playing out in my life. But because, first of all, my mind was interrupted with a question, and I didn't brush it off, right? I didn't say, right? I had to sit into it. And before that particular time, I had always thought that, and first of all, I didn't see it as anything, right? And even if I saw it as something, I probably would have thought about it like, oh, maybe it's a spiritual problem, right? Now, this does not undermine the spirituality of life. No, it doesn't. Because even what we call spirituality, right, many times it's not spirituality. It's voodoo. It's like magic. Because spirituality that you cannot understand, you can't replicate. You can't replicate it. You will keep hitting a particular roadblock, and then you ask yourself, oh, how did I get here? When you understand how you got there, you go back again. Sorry, when you ask yourself that question, maybe there's no answer, you try again, and you hit that same roadblock, you bypass it, and then you come to that particular point, you keep going in circles. But when you understand, you know how to cross junctions, you know how to cross certain critical points that you get to in life, right? So yeah, I was trying to bring in my own. So when you understand the mind as a system, right, it has structure, it has logic, and it has a design. It helps you know how to interrupt certain things in your life, certain things that needs upgrade. It helps you know how to upgrade it, and certain things that you need to totally close the book and end. You know how to do it, right? You know how to do it. They were going to briefly look at two particular systems that run every human life. Two particular systems. The world that we live in, people run on two particular models. Let me call it that way, two particular models. We'll briefly look at that. And then lastly, we're going to explore the hidden structures behind our choices. Now, that last topic is going to be more like a preamble into our next class. Let me know if you're following me. Are you guys still with me? Or have I lost you? Great, let me know if you're still with me or if I've lost you. I know there's a bit of a lag, but bear with me. Okay. Okay, great. All right, great. So yeah, back to what we were discussing. So then let's start. What is a system? When you hear the word system, what comes to mind? Right? What comes to mind? I know the first thing that will come to mind, right, would be machines, right? Or a set of things that flows in a particular way. Just a rough definition of it. But then let me give you the definition that I have here in my own notes, right? A system, I wrote here, is a set of interconnected parts. Please pay attention to the definition because I'm going to explain it later. A system is a set of interconnected parts that work together to produce a consistent and predictable output. A system is a set of interconnected parts that work together to produce a consistent and predictable output. What that means is systems have parts, right? Now, these parts are not random. When you go to a factory, right, and you look at a machine and how it functions, let's say the machine that mixes chocolate, it is connected to other machines. There's a particular machine that brings the chocolate. Maybe there is one that grinds the cocoa. Then there's another one that adds sugar. Then there's another one that blends it together. There's another one that adds milk to it. So there are different parts on its own. On its own. If you take one part of the system, it can't be called a system, because system by its design have different parts interplaying and working together to give you a consistent result. They work together to give you a consistent result, a result that is predictable. So, for instance, an alarm is a system. It works with the time on your phone, right? So you set the time to 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. in the morning. Once it's 4 a.m. it doesn't ring, but once the time on your phone or on your system, wherever it is you set it, clocks 5 a.m., that alarm goes off, and it continues like that until you stop it. So it gives you a predictable result until you stop it. In the same way, there are certain systems in our lives that ensures that some patterns keep occurring in a consistent manner. It doesn't mean they are bad. No, they are not. It's just the way they've been designed. It's just the way the structure is. So there are different parts working together as one. They are working together as one, ensuring that the result that they were designed to produce, they produce it. So the moment they don't produce it, that system starts to malfunction. You see that? It starts to malfunction. It's the reason why, for instance, if you set your alarm, I'm using an alarm because it's a basic thing. If you set your alarm by 5 p.m., and the alarm doesn't ring, you wake up by 5 a.m. rather, the alarm, you saw that the alarm that you set by 5 a.m. did not ring, and your phone is not dead. You ask yourself, is this phone good? Is it working? As a matter of fact, there was a particular phone I had years ago. When that phone goes off, let's say I switch it off, because there was a particular time where I used to switch off my phone, and let's say, for instance, my battery is very low, the thing goes off. Once it's the time that I set the alarm for, once it gets to that time, that phone will turn on by itself for that alarm to ring. That's how predictable that system was. The phone will turn on by itself. Even if the battery is 1%, it will turn on by itself, let the alarm ring, and then maybe it will now go off. Are you seeing it? So systems are interconnected parts. As I'm teaching, think about your life. Look at your life. Notice where or think about where you are noticing certain patterns occurring in your life, and start to ask yourself, what system has been designed here? Maybe it's invincible, yeah? Because most systems that operate our lives, they are invincible. So maybe they are invincible. Okay, that's the essence of this class, this 4-part series, to bring to the limelight certain systems, certain structures, certain design upon which our mind and our lives are running that we do not yet know. Right? That we do not yet know. So we can start to interrupt it and take back our power. Because what systems does, especially the ones that you did not intentionally design, right? Or the ones that you're not even aware is running your life, is that it will continue to produce certain output, right? Certain output in your life that you do not want, but you don't know how to change it. You are not in control of it because you don't even know they exist. You don't even know. So another definition I have here, another thing rather we need to understand about systems that I've said before, but let me repeat, is that systems do not produce random results. There is an explanation to it. There is an explanation to it. Why you keep hitting the same spot, there's an explanation to it. Why it feels like you keep going around a particular circle, there's an explanation to it. That you don't know what the explanation, it does not mean that there is not an explanation. It just means you've not seen it. Another thing you need to know about systems is they produce reliable results. If you program your bank, let's say you have one of these saving apps like Piggyvest, and you program it that by every Monday, deduct 10,000 naira from my main account. Maybe you are using GT, Moneypoint, OPay, UBA, Zenith, Access, whatever it is, but you program your Piggyvest or your Cowrywise, and you say every Monday by 6 a.m. deduct this amount from my main bank account. Trust me, you can bank on it that it will do exactly that, except there is a glitch from their end. It will do exactly that. That's what system does. There are 3 properties of every system. 3. Every system has structure, has logic, has design. The structure of a system is the architecture beneath it. It is what makes it it. In the same way, when we bring it home, you will start to see that the structure of your mind, right? There is a whole architecture behind it. You know what an architecture is? Like a house, like a building, like a structure that was intentionally built. See it like a skyscraper. Skyscrapers are not built around. No house is built. No house that can stand the test of time is built randomly. No. No. There is a solid blueprint behind it. The next thing a system has is logic, which means that there are certain rules that it follows. I give an instance about one of these saving apps like Cowrywise or what's it called? Piggyvest. You program it and you tell it by 10 a.m. every Tuesday, every Monday, every Sunday, every whatever day you pick, deduct this certain amount from my account. That's the rule that you've given to it. So if you program it for Monday, once it's Tuesday, it won't deduct. No matter how much you cry, shout at it, it will not deduct unless you change the rules. So every system has a logic. If you go to a factory and you see different machines working together interconnectedly like a system, right? There is a point where, for instance, the chocolates, the liquid chocolate we get to, that the machine will divide it into different shapes and bars. Because what? The rule says when this thing gets here, do this. If you guys have used automation tools, right? Maybe like Zapier, or you've set up an automated email before, you will understand this. How automations work is you give it rules. When a subscriber joins, send them this welcome email. After 3 days, send them this other email. If they respond, send them this. If they don't respond, send them this. So there are rules that is powering those automation tools. In the same way, just like your mind that works like a system, there are certain rules that it follows. Certain rules. Certain rules. You may not be even aware of it. The last thing is every system has a design. It has a design. And so by its design, it ensures that it is consistent. So a system reinforces itself. What that means is, right? What that means is when a system, for instance, because of the rules and the structure that has been programmed into it, it tells it 10 a.m. using the money app again, deducts 10,000 naira. So it deducts it the first Monday by 10 a.m. It works. 10 a.m. because that rule is still there, it reinforces itself. The day you do, let's assume you got to the point where you don't want any, you had a certain amount of money in your main bank account that you did not want to touch, maybe because it's small, you were just trying to manage it. Because you didn't change the rule on the piggy vest or the money saving app, it will still continue with that rule and deduct the money. It will not even come and take into consideration the fact that, oh, this is my last money. I don't want to save it. I just want to use it as little as possible, so that before the next income comes in. It doesn't respect that. The only thing it doesn't respect the fact that you are broke. It doesn't respect the fact that, oh, you might go hungry. It doesn't. The only thing it follows is the rule that you've programmed into it. And so if you do not want it to take any money from your account, you have to go and change that rule. You have to. So I'm going to bring this home when we start to see how the mind works like a system and why certain patterns in our lives keeps reoccurring. But then let's explore what the mind is. What is the mind? The mind, some people say, is the brain. Okay. The mind, some people say, oh, it's what you used to think. Quite true. But what exactly is the mind? The mind is, see it like the inner structure through which you see things, you interpret things. See it like the inner structure, right? It's not something outside. It's an inner structure through which you see the world. You interpret certain things that happen to you, right? It's a collection of your thoughts, your emotion, your feelings, your perception. It's a collection of a whole lot of things. So it's a structure. It is what decides that your mind that has perception, thought, feelings, and all of that. It is what decides what is possible for you. It is what decides what should stay and what should not stay. It is what shapes how you even see people. It is what shapes how you interact with yourself. It's a very powerful structure that when you understand how it works, when you are able to understand to a large extent how your mind works, trust me when I say that, you would operate at a certain level that people would almost think that you're a god. But you are not exactly God. You've just been able to gain mastery of your mind. Which the first part is to start to see your mind as a machine. As a machine. So your mind is also a system, right? That has been programmed with certain sets of beliefs, certain sets of assumptions, certain sets of interpretations from which you start to draw out your decision from. There's something about the wiring of your mind that made you make a decision to be on this call. You shouldn't have. Are you seeing it? In the same way, there is something about how your mind is structured and wired, how it has been wired over time, that ensures that those patterns in your life keeps occurring. It's like this analogy or example that people give, where when you tell your mind that you want to see only red cars, you might see a lot of blue cars, green cars, white cars, orange cars, gray cars, brown cars, and all of that. But your mind, all of these colors, the colors of the cars that I mentioned, might be existing on the streets, the same place that you're looking into to spot a red car, but your mind will only wire and configure itself to find a red car. To find a red car. Because of the structure. Because of what you've told it that is a red car you're looking for. In the same way, growing up, right? A lot of us here, we're from different backgrounds. And so as a result of our growing up, there is a way our mind have been structured to accommodate certain possibilities and reject some. To hold certain, to go to certain extent and to refrain from some. To seize certain opportunities and to discard some. Are we together? So that's why it is very, very important that we don't joke with these things, right? Especially if we're looking to go very far, if we're looking to explore the depth of our potential. It is critical that we understand what goes up in here. It is critical. It is very paramount that we understand it. Not necessarily because we want to go and teach somebody anything. No. I know the world is wired in such a way that when somebody learns something, they are looking for a way to go and teach other people without first of all applying it into their life to see whether it even works. Without allowing that thing that you're going to offer to people change you first. That's not what I'm talking about. So let us run. How does your mind then work as a system? How does your mind work as a system? It still follows the same three things: structure, logic, design. Structure, logic, design. So under the structure part, right, that's where you'll find things like your foundational beliefs that were formed from your childhood days, that were formed as a result of certain experiences that you had. Foundational beliefs wired into you. This particular one falls under structure. Then the next thing, how the mind works as a system, we have the first layer, which is a structure, is that you have the assumptions. Every one of us here, we have assumptions about people. Right? Assumptions about people. Is the reason why you will see some certain kinds of persons. You've not come close to them, but you have concluded about them and say, this person cannot be good. How did you know? How? Or you see certain things and you just conclude, this cannot be for me. Because there are certain assumptions that are running in the background that make up the structure. Another thing that you can find within the structure part of how the mind works and is layered is self-perception. self-perception, how you see yourself. I have met people with a very low self-esteem. It felt like I should take my own esteem, divide it into two, and give them. Add to your own, at least let it boost. It's not necessarily because these people want to see themselves that way. There is a structure underneath. There is a structure. Right? There's a structure. And then I've met certain people that are so arrogant towards life. It's still a structure. Self-perception. It's still a structure. I've met certain people that people just get attracted to them, not in a romantic way, but there is just something about this person. Structure. There are certain persons that they don't see, for instance, let's say giving as they don't like to give. They don't. A structure. If you examine that thing very well, you will see how somehow it might even be connected to the foundational beliefs that some persons have. Some people, you see, the idea of growth is not for me. Just leave me the way I am. Or something like wealth. It's not for me. There are certain amounts that if I go beyond it, it's like evil to me. It's structure. I'm using this example as basic things. There are some people, certain opportunities will come their way. Certain leadership opportunities will come their way. They will tell themselves, it's not for me. An instance, let me give an instance, right? Let me give an instance. Excuse me. Let me give an instance. At the start of this year, right? That should be not January. Late last year, late December. I think that should be around 23, 24, if I'm not mistaken. I was sleeping, so I woke up. When I woke up from my sleep in the middle of the night, I got an invitation. And sorry, I opened WhatsApp. When I opened my WhatsApp, I saw a message from somebody that I knew, somebody I know rather. So I clicked it to read what, she's a friend of mine, and I was like, oh, what did this person send me at this time? Around 3, 4 thereabout. And so I opened the message and I read it, and the message was, oh, I'm hosting a particular event. I will want you to come and speak there. Guys, the moment I read that message, I could not sleep again. Why? Because I felt like, speak. How? Speak. Please, please, please. I'm not ready for it. That was what I told myself. Meanwhile, it wasn't as if I wasn't ready for it. I was trying to push it away. But luckily for me, I had already started to do the mind work. I had already started to examine certain structures upon which my mind was running prior to that time. So when it surfaced again, I knew how to catch it. I knew how to catch it. And I told myself, no, we're not going to turn this down. We're not going to turn this opportunity down. Let's not lie that we're not ready. You are ready. Let's not lie that we're not capable. We are capable. And so I reached out to I sent a reply to that message, and I told her that, okay, no problem, when is the date, what topic am I going to be handling, and all of that. And the talk, or the whole event, went absolutely well. It is the same way when you do not understand certain structures that run in your mind, certain ways that your mind operates, certain things, certain assumptions, certain beliefs, right? Certain interpretation about life, about things, about what is possible. If you do not understand how these things are operating in your mind, guess what? Opportunities will come to you. The very things you are desiring will come to you, and you will turn it down. And guess what? You would have a very justifiable reason. Very justifiable reason. That when you say it to yourself, you say, it's true, it's true, it's true. And God helps you. You now meet somebody that is still unable to see what is playing behind the scene. The person too will say, it's true, it's true, it's true. Are you seeing it? And so because I understood it, I was able to interrupt it. A lot of people do not notice the structure that they are living inside. They only see the outcome of it. So you hear somebody say things like, oh, I don't know, but I just doubt myself a lot. There's a structure. Or, oh, I don't know, when good things come my way, I just push them away. But when bad things come, I embrace it. It's a structure. It is. Oh, they wanted to give me a leadership position in the office that I'm working in, or in this organization I'm a part of, and I just turned it down. I told them I was not ready, but something in me still desires it. I still want it. It's the structure. It's the structure. For some persons, that structure is rooted in shame. Maybe they went through certain experiences while they were young. Maybe they tried to share their opinion or air their views about something, and they just shut them down and say, what do you know? And since that time, I've met someone like that. Since that time, or from that time till when they are now grown up, they've never felt comfortable to share their ideas. But when somebody else shares something, maybe somebody is able to pick that same idea and share it in the meeting or share it in the gathering, and everybody is applauding that person, that, oh wow, that's a very wise, input. That's a very nice idea. We never thought of it. This is so superb. That person that had the idea initially will start to resent themselves and say, it was me that had it, oh, I wanted to say it, oh. But you didn't say it. Another person said it. Why? The structure. Something about where you are coming from is still dictating what should be, even now that you are grown up. It ought not to be so. The next thing is logic. Like I said, every system has a rule. Which is the logic? There is a rule. In the same way, your mind has a logic behind it. It has certain rules that it follows. Let's take the example I just gave. You try to share your ideas, maybe when you were growing up, and they shut you down, told you, you don't talk, what do you know, blah, blah, blah. Or or let's say now that you're grown up, you came into a particular organization, or you were part of a team, right? And you tried to share your idea, and somehow it flopped. And people were like, oh, we shouldn't have done that. Oh, it was such a stupid idea. Why did we not think about it? People said things. Guess what? Next time when you get into the meeting room, or you get into that space again, that same scenario,
you will not want to talk, because the logic will not be, the interpretation you gave to the first event was, if I say something and I flop, people will not like me, and so they will not welcome me within their space. I won't feel loved. So next time, let's not be opening our mouths to talk again. That's the interpretation you gave to an event, even though that's not what it is. And so the next time you have opportunity to share your ideas, to air your view, or to just, share your voice, that logic will kick play again. It will kickstart and tell you, it will remind you that, remember the last time we spoke, we said rubbish. That rule has forgotten the fact that from that time till now, you have evolved. Something has changed. You have learned more. You've upgraded. Even if it's in the tiniest way, that logic does not take into account your current state. It is only your former state. And it will continue to predict based on the past. Not the present, not the future. Just the past. So that rule will continue. The logic offers to you distorted perception, distorted interpretation. So when you find yourself in a different context, it is still telling you, it is still taking your mind back to what was, instead of focusing it to what is now. So let's say before you flopped, you were given opportunity to lead in an organization, a project, or whatever, right? You flopped, you failed. Another opportunity came that you're supposed to take advantage of, because now you've grown. But guess what? The logic will tell you, the last time we took this thing, we flopped. Let's not take it again, no. And so you will push it aside, and you will shrink yourself, and then you will watch somebody else take it. And guess what? You won't feel neutral about it. You won't say, well, we pushed it aside, so guess what? You will start to resent yourself from within, and even resent the person, because maybe the person succeeded, right? And everybody was applauding the person and giving the person, accolades, and saying, oh, it was because of you were able to advance in this particular thing. Thank you very much. And you knew that, this would have been me if I had taken the opportunity. But because you allowed the former logic to run the show, you are resenting both yourself and resenting the person. You are hating the person. Isn't that how many of us run our lives? Where we intentionally shrink ourselves, and then somebody else who is bold enough takes maybe not as competent as you, Seth, maybe not as intelligent as you, but the person was bold enough to take the opportunity and to learn on the job and to grow, right? And to expand their capacity more than what exists, and to allow the seed of who they are to open up because of the pressure. Every seed you put on the ground, right, that grows, you apply pressure on it. You apply the fact that that's why if you plant a seed in a shallow soil, it will easily be uprooted. Some of them will not even grow. That is the reason why you need to dig deep and then plant the seed and then cover it. That's the pressure. So that the potential of the seed can pop open, so that it can unburden and it can grow to produce fruit. Do you see that? The next thing, every system has design. In the same way, your mind has a design. But now this design, it was most times it was not designed by you. It was designed unconsciously. It's the reason why you are unable to see the patterns. The patterns can occur in your life, in your relationship. It can occur in your finance. But how many of us take out time to really pause to say, let me see this thing? You don't know, but there are just some certain kind of people you attract to your life. Sit down. A pattern is occurring. You don't know, but somehow, somewhere, you can't leave a particular spot. You try to go forward. You come back 10 steps backwards. Something playing on. There's a design. A design. A design. So I believe that during the course of this 4-part series, right, as we come on board week in, week out, the next 4 weeks, we would be able to shed light, right, on these things and go deeper into it so that you can start to see how it plays out in your life, right? You can start to spot the pattern and then change it. The goal is not just to see the pattern, please. If the goal is just for you to see the pattern, this class will do you no good. It's so that you see and change it. That's how you grow. That's how you unburden. That's how you expand. That's how. That's how. Now, there's a particular framework I want to share with us, right, quickly, how systems are built. A framework of how our mind gets shaped. The first thing in that framework, right, a 4-part framework, the first thing is the fact that your mind is shaped by input. What that means is what enters your mind is the first thing first, is the first ingredient that starts to shape your mind. Experience. That's the first thing in the framework, experience. Your experiences, it's how certain information come into your mind. And by experience, I don't mean anything too deep. It could be something as simple as you're listening to me. This is an experience for you. An experience that is sending certain information into your mind. You read a book, it's an experience. Or somebody betrayed you in the past, it's an experience. It registered something in your mind. An experience. An experience many times is neutral. Very neutral. It just comes to you. You experience it. It's an input from the world that you live in. An input. It comes from the world into your mind. It's neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's just there. However, the second part of the framework is not what starts to determine what an experience means to you and then what you do after with it. So somebody, right? Let's use the example I gave before. You worked on a particular project and you failed. Your thing didn't work. The project didn't turn out as expected. That was an experience. Neutral. It doesn't mean you're a failure, nothing. The project just failed. But guess what we do? We move to the second part of the framework, interpretation. The lens through which we start to interpret this experience. We now start to say things like, oh, I'm a failure. Oh, everything that they give me to do, that's how I used to scatter it. But nobody said that. You failed in the project. Okay. But how did, or let me rephrase, the project failed. How did a project failing now automatically mean that you are a failure? You tried on something, it didn't work out. How did that move to things don't work out for me? The lens, the interpretation we attach to certain experiences. That's how. And so because a project failed, we've now interpreted it. Instead of, oh, this project failed, let us try another one. Or, oh, we could not achieve certain things, let us try another one. Or, I could not, this was what I set out to do, but I wasn't able to meet it. Let me try again. Let me revisit my drawing board. We now interpret it as, things doesn't work out for me. Oh, I'm such a failure. Anything that they give to me, it turns out and it flops. Guess what? It now determines what your next line of action will be. So when you are offered a second chance, maybe in a different context, guess what you're going to do? You're going to turn it down. You're going to shrink. You're going to try to play small. You're going to tell yourself, no, I'm not ready. You're going to tell yourself, no, I'm not capable. Who told you the lie? Your lens. The interpretation you attached to an experience you had before. And so even though deep within you, you are sensing, there's got to be more to my life. I cannot be where I am. I feel like I should have grown past this. I feel like I should have moved past this. True. You should have moved past it. But how do you move past it if you're still operating with the same lens? Because your lens determines your action. Your lens. If you see yourself as capable, you will dare things. If you see yourself as being able, you will move. If you see yourself as, your lens determines your next line of action. Your lens. And then your action, consistent action, determines what your reality would be. It determines it. It determines what your reality will be. No matter how you wish things would just change for you, no matter how you wish it, yeah? Oh, let things just change for me. Oh, I just want things to be better for me. If the lens through which you are seeing life, seeing things, viewing the world, is not upgraded, trust me, it won't change. Why? Because the quality of your lens determines the quality of decisions that you make and the quality of actions that you take. I repeat that again. The quality of your lens determines the quality of decisions that you make, which determines the quality of action that you take, that now culminates to become the quality of reality you experience. You experience. Now, I said that I was going to talk about quickly two models from which we operate life as people. There are certain types of people that operate life from a survivor standpoint. So they have what I would likely call a survival system, where they're just trying to survive, right? Their mind, their life is built on survival. They detect a threat, they're trying to avoid certain risk, or their life is basically built on survival mode. And so even the fullness of their life, they are unable to exploit. Because if you want to explore, right? If you want to be able to become more, if you want to be able to express that desire for more that you sense within, you need to move from the first model, which is survival system, and come into the second model that I call the identity system. I might touch more on this in our next class, right? But just take that. If you want to operate at a certain level of, authority, of boldness, of exploring your vision, your potential, right? The highest level of your leadership, the highest level of yourself, you must move from a survival mode, which is the first system, survival system, to what I call the identity system. The survival mode tells you, right? Oh, there's a threat. So you move your life based on threats that you've detected. The threat can come in any form. Any form. And then the identity system, briefly, talks about you operating your life from the standpoint of an understanding of who you are. It is that understanding that determines the space that you take in the world. It's that understanding that determines the authority that you claim, the opportunities you go for. So you are not operating from survival mode anymore. You are operating from an understanding of who you are and what is possible for you. What is possible for you? What is possible for you? So what system exactly are you operating from? Survivor or identity? Choose one. Survivor or identity? The last thing before we wrap up this class, right? We're almost done. Is let us quickly explore the hidden structures behind certain choices that you make, because your choices, for a lot of people, they are pre-programmed. They are not exactly what you want. They are things that have been installed into you that you did not even know, you're not aware of, you're not conscious of it. So it feels like you are making certain choices, but it's not exactly you that is making the choices. You're just choosing from a box that has a box with limited options that have been handed over to you. That has been handed over to you. So for a lot of us, our choices have been pre-programmed. I talked about the structure containing foundational beliefs. I talked about it containing assumptions. And hope you know that the choices that you make, they revolve around these things. But many times, the beliefs that we hold, the assumptions we hold about life, they are unexamined. You tell yourself, I'm not just ready, I'm not capable. How did you know? How did you come to that conclusion? How did you come up with that narrative? There are certain stories that we hold about ourselves. There are certain ideologies we hold on to so strongly that determines the kind of choices that we make. And then sometimes we just feel like, I am the one that I made the choice myself. Nobody influenced me. Really? Nobody influenced you. But you just chose from a box of options that was handed to you. Was handed to you. Ask yourself, why do I keep turning down this thing? Why do I keep running? Why does it feel like I'm running away from this? Why does it feel like every time I choose, even though I want to choose this, I end up still choosing this? Why? If something has been, your mind and your life is running on certain assumptions and certain beliefs and certain narratives that were not conceived and concluded by you. It's the reason why self-examination, especially for the person, right? For you who is listening to me, right? That you want to go far in life. You want to go far in life. You want to rise higher. You want to take up space. You want to show up at the same level that your identity demands. You must never play with self-examination. Revisiting your thought, checking your assumptions once again, looking at your beliefs once again, and not just concluding that that's just who I am or that's just what has been. The fact that it has been doesn't mean that you should continue, especially when it's not giving you the results that you desire, especially when it's not supporting you towards the destination that you're headed, especially when it doesn't align with the person that you are becoming. You shouldn't. So check your choices. Every choice occur or exist within a context. Every choice. That context, like we've examined before, are the structural beliefs that have been installed into you. The choices that you make, they spring out of them. They spring out of them. They spring out of the architecture that was installed into you. They spring out of it. So before our next class, right, which is going to be next Friday, I want you to do something for me. I want you to sit with yourself, right? You know, when you were applying to join this mastery series, you dropped I asked a question: what pattern do you see consistently playing out in your life that it feels like you cannot break out of? I'm asking that question again so you can sit into it as an assignment towards, our next class. Just sit into it. What's the structure behind that pattern? What's the beliefs? Or what are the beliefs? What are the assumptions? What are the narratives around it? What are the rules that govern it? That ensures that it keeps repeating itself in a predictable manner, in a consistent and reliable manner. What are the rules? These are the things you want to sit into, you want to understand. You want to understand. And so with that, we have come to the end of our class. I do hope that you enjoyed this live session. If you do have any question, feel free to drop it in the chat, and I'm going to be answering them. I'm going to be answering them and ensuring that you get feedback. And so I'm going to see you in our